Now, I'm not sure how many times I've come up here and tried to, 50-50 respond to Raw. I've said a lot of times, what was good was really good, and what was shit was really shit. But my 3 favorite women's wrestlers all shine tonight, and we got another really exciting match for Battleground, so it can't be that bad, can it? What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your June 27th Raw review. And like I said in the open, I had a lot of fun with this show, but it was one of those, like, the stupid shit was so stupid I laughed at it, and the good shit was good. The main pickup, the main storyline, or the main behind-the-scenes storyline, is how is WWE going to get around Roman Reigns' suspension, and they tackle it head-on in the opening segment. Now, people were saying on the pre-show, I didn't catch all of the pre-show, but I know on Twitter everybody was being really sarcastic. Oh my god, it's so interesting, they haven't even mentioned the suspension. Rollins comes out, takes his place in the center of the ring to talk about the triple threat match coming up at Battleground. He's about to say something else, and he says, screw it, I know I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I've got a live mic and I'm in the middle of the ring, and what are they going to do? Let's talk about the Roman Reigns scandal and how it embarrasses me. I brought Roman Reigns into the WWE, so his scandal, his suspension embarrasses me. They actually throw Roman Reigns' tweet up on the Titantron where he says, apologies to my friends, my family, etc., 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 my co-workers, I'm not making any excuses, I own it type of thing. Rollins goes on to say that Roman has never been sorry for anything. He talks about his fans and his family, but isn't he the guy that's supposed to be one versus all? He doesn't have friends, he doesn't have family, he doesn't give a crap about the fans, and mocks the whole I own it thing. Says, I own Roman Reigns. I owned him last year. I owned him last year at WrestleMania, and I owned him at Money in the Bank. Roman doesn't deserve a title shot because of his behavior in Roddy Raw. He's out there he's basically petitioning for a one-on-one match with Dean Ambrose. Now, we all know that's not going to happen. Roman's going to be back just in time for the pay-per-view, which is a little questionable, but it's interesting because as we go into the commercial break, I found out that hashtag WWE Toronto, which I'll be at in 2 weeks, the main event is, in fact, Rollins versus Ambrose. So lucky me. lucky me that my house show falls in Roman Reigns' suspension. That's fucking great. Ambrose comes out basically defending his buddy. He says, you're all upset, you're all angry. Is this really about Roman, or is this about me being the WWE champion? We all make mistakes. He owned up to it, basically get over it type of thing. AJ Styles comes out, cuts them off, and both of them look a bit confused. And says, Ambrose is right. It should still be a triple threat match. It should be you versus me, which gets a pretty decent yes chant from the crowd, proving that the yes chant is for more than just Daniel Bryan. Sorry. I will say it is kind of cool that Daniel Bryan's doing commentary on the Cruiserweight Classic gimmick that they're doing there. But he says, I beat Cena last month in the Dream match. Give me Roman Reigns' spot, or hell, I don't even care. Keep Roman in it. Put me in it too and make it a 4-way. John Cena comes out, predictably enough, commends Dean for being a fighting champion, because Dean doesn't care. Dean will take on 1, Dean will take on 2, Dean will take on 3. And he says, you'll fight a friend in Roman Reigns, you'll fight a foe in Seth Rollins, you'll fight a fraud in AJ Styles, but are you willing to fight the franchise? I'm like, that's still a little cheesy. And he says, last time I won the belt, last time you and I fought for a belt, I came out on top. And I just did a thought for a second, and it took me about 30 seconds to remember. Dean Ambrose did at one point answer the John Cena Open Challenge for the US title, and he lost, and that's a thing. If we're just throwing all of our names in the hat, why don't we make it a 5-way? Stephanie McMahon comes out making fun of Ambrose, says, the Roman Reigns scandal is one thing, but the one thing more embarrassing than that is having Dean Ambrose as champion. So what we're going to give you guys the opportunity to join in this match as well. Rollins, you're going to face Cena tonight. If you win, you're in the title match. Styles, you're going to face Ambrose tonight. If you win, you're in the title match, and the winners get to join the match, and it's all good. So we're setting the table pretty clearly that Dean Ambrose is the Steve Austin in this McMahon scenario, if that wasn't already abundantly clear. First match of the night was the only match I saw. I told you I didn't watch all of the pre-show, but the one thing I did get announced is we're going to get Paige and Sasha versus Charlotte and Dana. And Paige and Sasha, a.k.a. Team Hot as Fuck. Yes, I'm biased. Sorry, not sorry. Sasha and Dana start. Dana eats the turnbuckle corner choke by Sasha and a mudhole stomp by Dana, slap by Sasha, and a double hip toss by Paige and Sasha. A double drop kick to Charlotte by Paige and Sasha as we go to commercial break. Charlotte chokes Paige in the ropes. That's what we come back to. We come back to when they do a choke on the ropes. I mean, yeah, you got to get in really, really close into the guy or girl's face. But when they do it coming back from a commercial break, they do it like extra close. I don't know what the deal. I don't know if it's supposed to like shock you into like the show is back, but it's not always the most effective thing in the world. Double suplex by Charlotte and Dana on Paige. Mudhole and a corner choke by Dana. Charlotte rides a headlock and a snap, and it's countered into a snapmare by Paige. Rolling neckbreaker by Charlotte is a little... Okay, not shitting on her as an in-ring competitor, but the rolling neckbreaker was a bit sloppy. Super kick by Paige. Hot tag to Sasha Banks, where we get the rolling clotheslines, the double knees in the corner. Paige knocks out Charlotte on the outside so she can't interfere. Back in the ring, we get a running knee, the Banks statement, and the obvious, the predictable, and the fucking amazing win for Team Hot as Fuck, aka Paige and Sasha Banks. Because WWE hasn't gotten my memos yet, WWE still thinks I give a shit about Titus O'Neil. WWE is wrong. Titus O'Neil beats Rusev by countout in a shitty brawl. And it's so bad. The whole Titus O'Neil suspension situation is really bad, and this is where the fans get their way in the wrong way, because the fans that were looking for, clicks and follows and views on their videos threw out the word racism because they knew it was a hot button issue. So now WWE is terrified to have this fucker lose a match. Fuck off. Get this guy off my TV. I don't care. Rusev is the one that loses in this scenario. This is Rusev's second attempt at being on the incline as the U.S. champion. U.S. title isn't the best title at the best of time, is it? But with the U.S. title, he's really making his ascension. He's got Lana back with him, which gets him some favor with the crowd. And he's doing good. Rusev deserves a better opponent than Titus O'Fucking-Neil. Oh, yes. In the back, Kane is talking to Stephanie McMahon. Kane is still petitioning to run SmackDown Live. Miz and Maurice arrive. They complain about the fact that their limo wasn't big enough and there's no entourage and no red carpet and rah-de-rah-de-rah. Kane mentions Miz is a Intercontinental Champion. There is, Section 412B, whatever the hell he says. If a champion hasn't defended their title in 90 days, they can be stripped of it. Miz defends the title tonight against a surprise opponent, according to Stephanie McMahon. And then the internet goes nuts. Oh, it's going to be the return of Randy Orton. Oh, it's going to be the debut of Finn Balor. Oh, John Morrison is coming back. I don't watch Lucha Underground, but even I know that Johnny Mundo is doing pretty good over there, isn't he? The more you hype this up, the more it's going to be nothing, isn't it? First of the two matches that Stephanie McMahon announced earlier tonight is Rollins versus Cena, which is going to be good. The last time these guys fought, John Cena broke his nose. Collar and elbow tie-up and a side headlock by Rollins to start. Shoulder tackle by Cena, side headlock by Cena, and a shoulder tackle by Rollins. The whole, you guys know what I love, that anything you can do, I can do better scenario. It also shows in this case that these guys know each other really, really well. Boot and a couple of one-punch knockdowns by Rollins, headbutt by Rollins, an awkward-ass dropkick by Cena, even though he's trying. Back elbow drop and a slice bread number 2 by Rollins. Standing crossface by Rollins. Shoulder tackle times 2 by Cena. Side slam by Cena. And the kick in the face by Rollins when he attempts the 5-knuckle shuffle. Cut off right in the middle of the 5 moves of doom. We like that. We like that a lot. As we go to commercial break. More shoulder tackles and a side slam by Cena, and he successfully hits the 5-knuckle shuffle. It's as cartoony as it always is. Super kick by Rollins, back elbow by Cena. Second rope tornado DDT by Cena, which I'll give him some credit for, and an enziguri by Rollins. Both men trade punches and a drop kick by Rollins. Top rope sunset flip coast to coast buckle bomb by Rollins. Say that 5 times fast. Frog splash by Rollins misses. Super kick roll through and a Falcon Arrow superplex roll through Falcon Arrow by Rollins, crossbody by Rollins, and Cena rolls it into the AA. Counter wrestling sequence goes on for a little bit as the club surround the ringside. All three of them, AJ Styles and his boys. The distraction is enough for Rollins to hit a pedigree and get the win, securing that John Cena will stay out of the main event scene and keeping all the Smarks happy because they were, sitting there with their Johnson in one hand, ready to rage if Cena got back in the main event scene. Oh, yes. Enzo and Cass beat some jobbers, and then they get verbally assaulted by the Social Outcasts and boot them in short order, and it was a waste of 10 minutes. Still don't care about Titus O'Neil, I just said that. But his partner, Darren Young, I also don't care about. The Bob Backlund shit is still shit. But I will say, I do like to hear what I heard about the house show last week in Orlando. I think it was last week in Orlando. First house show that they've done in Orlando since the shooting that took place at the LGBT nightclub. Apparently, Darren Young got a chance to wrestle there since he hasn't wrestled in a while. Apparently had some things to say afterwards. Really, really cool thing. Darren Young being a very outspoken member of the LGBT community. I don't want to say perfect person to do something like that because that is a bit of a typecast, but it is nice that they gave him the opportunity to do that. I don't have all the details on that. I heard it through the grapevine. It could be bullshit. But if it's not, kudos to WWE for that. And then kudos to WWE for they do some Special Olympic stuff. They had some Special Olympians at the Performance Center with the NXT and WWE superstars. They're promoting some movement called Play United or, something along those lines. They do a video package, all the youngsters there working out at the Performance Center with all the superstars. And then, got a couple of them up there on the stage with Renee Young and the Big Show, and they both say some pretty cool things. Big Show's out there. Big Show, face turn, heel turn, face turn, heel turn, face turn, heel turn. Nobody cares about the Big Show, but this was cool. Like he had his hand on one of the kids' shoulders, or he had one of the kids on his shoulder, something like that. I can't exactly remember, but it was. Yes, you're going to have people that are going to say, oh, WWE is just doing this to get views. They're doing this to look good. They're doing it for corporate, rah, 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 rah. You know what? At the end of the day, it's a nice thing. It's a feel-good moment, even if it is bullshit. Even if it is bullshit, I don't care. Let's just say that. Summer Rae versus Becky Lynch didn't really happen, but we got Natty on commentary talking shit about Becky Lynch as she's coming down on her way to the ring. They ask her why she turned on Becky, and she just keeps on saying, I had to change something. I had to change something. And like, you know that this is a story with no real reason because she never gives them a real answer. It's kind of like, I woke up and decided to be a bitch like that. But then she does, anybody that says that wrestlers in WWE don't fall back and rely on their, uncles, parents, grandparents, significant others, etc., when they're having trouble getting over, she does the Owen Hart thing. I think she's talking to Byron Saxton, and she says, enough is enough, and it's time for a change. Fuck me. Becky ignores the match, beats the shit out of Natty like she deserves. Summer Rae got some screen time for about 5 seconds. Becky gets to look strong. So now, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Paige. As I said, my 3 favorite women currently on the roster, on the main roster. There's some others, Alexa Bliss and Emma and all those. But my 3 mains on the main roster all got to shine tonight. Becky Lynch kicked the shit out of the legend that is Natalya Neidhart. Fuck off. And the other 2 got to beat the champion and her protege. So it's all good. As far as me being a fan of women's wrestling, it's all good tonight. The highlight reel is really just a segment, and Jericho tries to make it about him, and it's really not. Talks about the history between Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, introduces Zayn. Jericho tries to stir the pot as they both stay silent. Zayn eventually takes over the conversation, talking about how much this rivalry has cost both of them, how neither one of them can move on until they, put this to bed once and for all. It says, I want to challenge you at Battleground. And I really hoped he was going to say something else after that, because, you want a match of finality, you want a no DQ match, or you want an I Quit match, or an Iron Man match, but he just... especially, everybody in this segment is Canadian, so I put, hashtag Canadian Pride while this was going on. But, especially when you consider the history of Bret Hart you know, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels and their Iron Man match. You could really play this up. You know, Bret Hart was the one that introduced Sami Zayn on his first debut on Raw when he threw out his arm raising the roof. So you could tie it in again. Have these guys have an Iron Man match. I mean, it's not going to be the main event, so whatever comes on after it is going to look kind of but you got to do something. Owens says, you know, Sami Zayn's full of shit. He goes around looking for sympathy. What I've done has always been just business. He ruined the friendship because I was happy for you when you debuted in NXT, but you weren't happy for me when I became the NXT champion because it was at your expense. Never mind the fact that he tried to break his back, but that's besides the point. He accepts the challenge for Battleground without hesitation. Jericho talks some more shit, tries to make the segment about him again. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens double super kick him in the face. Oh yes, it made me smile. Miz is... Oh, I know I'm probably the only one that cares, because not a lot of people like The Miz. Miz's surprise Intercontinental Championship opponent is the Demon Kane. 4 reasons. I wrote notes on this match. I don't care. What you really need to know is that Maurice faked an injury on the outside. Miz carried her to the back so that he got counted out and kept his title. And in the back, she surprises him with the fact that she was pretending. He tells her what a great actress she is. They do some more Hollywood shtick, and we move on. If this means we are going to get a Miz versus Kane... Okay. Alright. Okay. You might not agree with what I said a second ago about Rusev, but Miz deserves better than this. The Intercontinental Championship deserves better than this. Oh yes. Cesaro and Apollo Crews took on Alberto Del Rio and Sheamus in a match I didn't care about. So, couple thoughts on this. They still are really pounding the League of Nations over the head as if it's not an already dead concept, aren't they? The heels don't get along, playing up on the fact that the League of Nations broke up. So the League of Nations broke up, one of them got fired, one of them's the US champion, and he's doing better than anybody, and these two are left, and they are a broken faction, so they're teaming. Why? The heels don't get along. Sheamus gets you look stupid chance. Del Rio at some point gets really, really frustrated, hits an enziguri on his partner Sheamus, and leaves. Predictable win for the babyfaces. Cesaro is the one guy that can't lose right now, according to the Smarks, and Apollo Crews is one of their biggest blue chippers from NXT that they're really trying to push. So the result of this match was never in any doubt. I don't care about... See, here's the deal. What's super sad and shitty about all this is, other than Sheamus, I like the other 3 guys. I like Cesaro. I'm a really big fan of Apollo Crews, and I've always been a supporter of Alberto Del Rio. I come out of this match hoping that we're going to like drop the Alberto Del Rio Cesaro stuff, because it's been done, it's been played out, it's been done to death. Out of this match, the only plus I can get is the possible potential of an Alberto Del Rio Apollo Crews feud, which I'd be really, really interested in. But this match, it was shit, and it had Sheamus in it, and so that's kind of synonymous, but predictable, and didn't make any sense. I mean, you can say that Cesaro and Apollo Crews were teaming together because they're faces and there's no reason for them not to, but they really didn't have a reason to team up either. Cesaro and Apollo Crews were not in NXT at the same time. Nothing to lead us to believe that they know each other. And the other guys on the other side of the match, we know don't get along. So yes, heel miscommunication gets the obvious win for the baby faces. Apollo Crews looked great. I will give him that. Cesaro does what he does, which these days is just uppercuts and swings, unfortunately. And like I said, Alberto Del Rio versus Apollo Crews should be a match going forward. Next segment I didn't write down a lot of notes for, because you really can't. You can't write down notes on the New Day's comedy. You can't write down notes on Bray Wyatt's promo abilities, but I will say the whole positivity, negativity, they kind of try to do a roast of the Wyatts, and Bray Wyatt just comes out and owns them on the mic. It just is a thing. I do like that they're playing up that Big E and Kofi Kingston are making fun of the Wyatts hardcore, while Xavier Woods stands behind them looking like he's going to shit himself. If this is... I mean, you don't have to turn them serious all the time. If this is a feud that forces the 3 members of the New Day to be serious competitors, I would be really interested in seeing that, but it looks like we're only getting that about 50-50. So we'll see the way it goes. Xavier Woods, I did say on Twitter, just because I thought it was funny, kind of looked like a bottom bunk extra from Orange is the New Black in his Wyatt parody attire. I'm just putting that one out there. Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles with Seth Rollins on commentary, obviously, as we said before. AJ Styles wins. He's in the match at Battleground, which we know isn't going to happen, but whatever. Rollins is on commentary, so shenanigans will follow, won't they? Collar and elbow tie-up and a side headlock by Ambrose, shoulder tackle by Ambrose, and a side headlock by Ambrose. Headlock by Styles, front slam by Ambrose, and chops by Styles. Lots and lots of chops, you know, channeling his inner Ric Flair as we go to commercial break. Styles rides a headlock, hits a drop kick, and gets back to the headlock once again. They trade punches in a mud hole by Styles and a corner forearm. Armbar by Styles, hangman by Ambrose, and they trade punches again. Fisherman suplex by Ambrose, neckbreaker by Ambrose. Pinning reversal sequence goes on for a long time, and a front suplex by Styles. Double underhook superplex by Ambrose was impressive. Back elbow by Ambrose, and a top rope something fails, and Ambrose fucks up his leg. Not only does he fuck up his leg, which leads to Styles' offense from here on in, but he sells the fucking leg from here to the end of the match. Calf crusher by Styles, obviously, because Ambrose just fucked up his leg. Ambrose tosses Styles out of the ring and hits a suicide dive on the fucked up leg, limps as he's running into the suicide dive. Fucking great. When they get back in the ring, Pele by Styles. The club are at ringside, and there's a brainbuster by... The club come to ringside. There's a brainbuster by Styles. Cena comes to ringside, and that distraction allows the Dirty Deeds, Ambrose, to get the win, and Styles also does not get to be in the main event at Battleground. So a couple things happen. We've built up the Cena-Styles feud, and we've maintained the Shield triple threat. Seth jumps Ambrose with 2 pedigrees after the match. The club have a 3-on-1 beatdown on Cena at the top of the rampway. The club and Seth Rollins stand tall. Ambrose and Cena are down. Now, what do you have here? What do you have here? We've got the Shield triple threat match, which is still intact. Roman Reigns will be back in time for the pay-per-view. Roddy Raw. The cut-up on him that Rollins did at the beginning of the show, if that's an indicator of how we're going to keep Roman Reigns in the back of the mind, that's pretty cool. It's not CM Punk break the fourth wall stuff, but it was something I didn't think they were going to touch. This also allowed us to build up the rivalry between Styles and Cena. They both cost each other a shot at the world title. We are going to get the last match between Owens and Styles. We know they're going to, or between Owens and Zayn. We know they're going to fight again, but whatever. We're going to get at the Charlotte versus, at the very least, Sasha Banks, if not Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch, and Paige, which doesn't hurt my feelings at all. We still don't have Naomi on our screens, which is fucking lovely. We had a Summer Rae sighting, which is cool. The the Wyatt family New Day thing is interesting. I don't care about Titus O'Neil. I don't care about Darren Young, and Enzo and Cass were absolutely wasted tonight, but they're still entertaining, so I can't even really complain about that. So I will say, all in all, bringing it down to the funnel here, I enjoyed this Raw. Was it perfect? No. Was there some shit on it? Absolutely. There was a lot of talking on this Raw. Some people that should have been talking and some people that probably shouldn't have a mic in their hands. Ever. Doesn't mean I didn't have a good time. Hope I've shared some of that with you tonight. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all of these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys.